Very good afternoon to everyone. Let me take the attendance before we start the class. Astha, Abhigyan, Aditya, Ankit, Ashutosh, Ayush Bothra, Ritik Bharadwaj, Ishpreet Singh, Janveer Singh, Jamima, Karan Agrawal, Kaushal Agrawal, Naveen Chandlani, Navya Singh, Neha Singh, Preetam, Sambhav Garg, Samriddhi Tripathi, Sanya Kanwar, Saurav Yadav, Shreya Dharan, Vanshika Sunil, and Vatsal Rastogi. Fine. So let us move with the class now. So today we will be studying about membership. Okay, company's membership. So what do you mean by membership of a company? Any one of you? Membership of a company means what? Anyone? So membership of a company, when you have a shareholding of a company, you say that you are also a member of the company, because shareholder holding itself is a membership of the company which is having a share capital. Okay. So let me take you further. So introduction, who are the members? A company is composed of members, though it's having its own separate legal entity. You know, there is a separate legal entity of the company itself, and the company is having its entity distinct from its members. Okay, we have studied this in our first class of introduction itself. Remember the Mangal Pandey clip which I showed you. Okay, so that actually shows that what there is a separate legal entity of a company. So the members of the company are the persons who for the time being constitute the company as a corporate entity. So it's a members because of which the company comes into existence. Though after being a company, the company is having a distinct entity, but inside it is the members who have actually formed the company. So members cannot be ignored, or the role of the importance of the members cannot be ignored when we are talking of a company as such. So members are an important part of the company, and without members the company cannot exist at all. Okay, so it is so. So in the case of a company limited by shareholders are the members, as I have already told you. So the term members and the shareholders are normally used, they are used interchangeably, being synonyms. Okay, as there can be no membership except through the medium of shareholding. So when a company is limited by shares, so you can have membership only if you have the shares of that company. Thus, generally speaking, every shareholder is a member and every member is a shareholder. But this is applicable only in case of company limited by shares. However, there may be exception to this statement. Example, company may be, a person may be a holder of the shares by transfer, but not become member until the transfer is registered in the books of the company in his favor and his name is entered in the register of members. So until and unless a person's name is not entered in the register of members, he cannot become the member of the company. So sometimes what happens when the shares are sold in the stock exchange and the person who has actually taken the shares does not get the shares registered, then in that case it cannot be said that he is a member of the company. Similarly, member who has transferred his shares, though he does not hold any shares, yet he continues to be a member of the company until the transfer is registered and his name is removed from the register of members maintained by the company under section 88 of the Companies Act 2013. So if a person has transferred the shares and the transfer has not taken effect in the register of the company, till then the person will not become the member of the company. So even a person who is not holding the share will remain the member of the company till the other person in whose name the shares are being transferred has also got registered in the company on those shares, and his name, the previous person's names has been removed. So until and unless the name of the shareholder, or you can say for the time till the name of the shareholder is shown in the register of the members, he will remain member as such. So there was a case in Hardiala Unimers Limited versus Renu Jain. So this is a case from 1995. It was held that the moment the shares are allotted and the share certificate signed and the name entered in the register of members, the allottee became the shareholder, irrespective of whether the allottee received the shares or not. Okay. So in company limited by guarantee, what happens? The person who are liable under the guarantee clause in the memorandum of association are the members of the company, or the person who have given the guarantee to the company at the time of its formation that we will contribute so much of amount at the time of winding up. So their name will be included in the memorandum of association as a contributor. So accordingly, they will also be called as a member of the company. So in an unlimited company, the members are the persons who are liable to the company, each in proportion to the extent of their interest in the company, to contribute the sums necessary to discharge in full the debts and liabilities of the company in the event of its winding up. So in case of unlimited company also, the similar clause is applicable, that to the extent they are responsible for the debts, they will be called members to that extent. Okay. Further, there is a definition of member. It has been defined under section 255 of the Companies Act. So according to section 255 of the Companies Act 2013, a member in relation to a company means a subscriber to the memorandum of a company who shall be deemed to have agreed to become member of the company, and on its registration shall be entered as a member in the register of members. So the first most thing, or you can say here comes the mode of taking the membership. So first mode of taking the membership, the initial, is by subscribing to the memorandum of association of the company. So if your name is there in the memorandum of association of the company, you will be called a member of that company. So every other person who agrees in writing to become the member of a company and whose name is entered in the register of member shall be the member of the company. So entering the name in the register of members is very, very important. So until and unless the name is there in the register of members, you cannot be called as a member. So that is most important thing to happen. Okay. Next, every person holding the shares of a company and whose name is entered as a beneficial owner in the records of the depository shall be deemed to be a member of the concerned company. Okay. So further, if you see, so accordingly, there are two important elements. Number one, the agreement to become a member, and entry of the name of person so agreeing in the register of members of the company. Both these conditions are cumulative. Okay. Which is this has been decided. If any of these conditions are not there, then the person cannot be held as a member of the company. So a person who is desirous of becoming the member of a company must have a legal capacity of entering into a agreement in accordance with the provisions of the Indian Contract Act 1870. It is 1872, not 1972. Section 11 of the Indian Contract lays down that a person competent to contract कौन कौन होता है? You remember? You might have studied this in your first year Contract Act. Okay, a person who is major, who is of sound mind, and is not disqualified by the law. Okay, so these are the persons who can enter into the contract. Okay, let me correct this as such. Fine. So, as per section 255 of the Companies Act 2013, a person may acquire, now these are the modes of acquiring the membership. So, how a person can acquire the membership? We have already seen it. We have already discussed it. That number one is by subscribing to the memorandum of association. Second, by agreeing to become a member in writing, and by holding the shares of a company whose name has been entered as a beneficial owner in the records of the deposit. Okay, so there are three types, three circumstances or three modes in which a person can become the member. So when you agree to become a member, it can be done in the four forms: by making an application to the company for the allotment of share, by executing an instrument of transfer of shares as in transferee, or by consenting to transfer the shares of a deceased member in the name, or by acquittances. So we will be going in detail. And further, and on his name being entered in the so these three are the agreement, and second condition is that his name being entered in the register of members of the company. Also, every such person holding shares of the company and whose name is entered as a beneficial owner in the records of the depository shall be deemed to be a member of the company. That is the point C, the last point. Okay. So these are the modes of acquiring the membership of a company, that how can you be a member of a company. So let us discuss it. So subscriber to the memorandum. In case of a subscriber, no application or allotment is necessary to become the member. So by virtue of his subscribing to the memorandum, he is deemed to have agreed to become a member, and he becomes ipso facto. Ipso facto means as a fact, because he is a subscriber, ipso facto member on the incorporation of a company, and is liable for the shares he has subscribed. Okay, a subscriber to the memorandum cannot resign the contract for the purchase of the shares, even on the ground of fraud by the promoter. So once a person has subscribed to the memorandum of the company, even he cannot, resign the contract of taking the shares afterwards. Why? Because he has actually subscribed to the memorandum, which is the most important way of being a member of a company. He cannot afterwards, just surrender that. Okay, I do not want to be the member. Okay, he cannot do like that. Next is uh, further, in accordance to the provision of section 10(2) of the Act, all monies payable by a member to the company under the memorandum or article shall be a debt due to him to the company. So once you have become the member, once you have subscribed to the memorandum, and then afterwards you have to take the shares in the company, and till date you have not taken the shares, it will be deemed as if you have taken a loan from the company, or you are a debtor of the company for the amount of the shares which you have not taken. Okay, further, the subscriber to the memorandum must pay for his shares in cash, even if the promoters have promised him the shares for services rendered in connection with the promotion of the company. Okay, so this payment has to be made in cash only. Okay, again, he must take the shares directly from the company and not through the transfer from the members. Okay, so this is again one condition. This is applicable only for the subscribers of the memorandum. He has to take the shares from the company. Why it is so? Because he is entering into a contract with the company. So the consideration, he is getting the shares, and he has to give money for that. Okay, so that is, and that's why such transfer should not happen. So when a person signs a memorandum or any number of shares, he becomes absolutely bound to take those shares, and no delay will relieve him from that liability unless he fulfills the obligation. His liability remains right up to the time when the company goes into liquidation, and he is bound to bring money. He is bound to bring the money for which he is liable to pay to the creditors of the company as such. Okay, so this is one of the very important aspect, that how to become a member by subscribing the memorandum of association. Next is the agreement in writing, and for agreement in writing, the first most mode is by applying the company and getting the allotment. So a person who applies for the shares becomes the member when the shares are allotted to him. A notice of allotment is issued to him, and his name is entered in the register of members. The general law of contract applies to this transaction. There is an offer to take the shares and acceptance of this offer when the shares are allotted. An application for shares may be absolute or conditional. If it is absolute, an allotment and its notice to the applicant will be sufficient acceptance. Okay. On the other hand, If the offer is conditional, the allotment must be made according to the condition as contained in the application. If there is any conditional application, the unconditional allotment, there is no contract. Okay, so this is something. So simply what you can understand is that a person can become a member of the company by applying for the shares of the company and getting the shares allotted at his name. So, and this such type of thing must be absolute. Okay, it can be absolute or conditional. Okay, so absolute, in case of absolute, what will happen, and in case of conditional, what will happen? It is there. Next is by transfer of shares. So shares in the company is a movable property as provided under section 44 of the Act and are transferable in the manner provided in the articles of the company and as provided in section 56 of the Companies Act 2013. A person can become a member by acquiring the shares from the existing member. So membership can be changed from one person to another. So by taking or purchasing a share from one person to another, the membership can be changed, and by having the transfer of shares registered in his books. So only taking the shares will not be sufficient. If person has taken shares, he's not transferred his shares in his name and is again selling the shares to someone else. So whosoever will, get the things transferred will become the member of the company as such. So until and unless the name is entered in the register of members, the person cannot become a member of the company. So this is most important. So what happens in the stock exchange when the dealings is there? Okay, so in the stock exchange when the shares are being sold from one person to another, the sales happen many times of the same shares in one day itself. So if the market is growing, the person thinks that the market is bullish, they want to make more and more money, so they keep on purchasing and selling the shares, and even they do not know, the original person who is the original member do not know to how many times and to whom he has actually sold the shares in a day. So until and unless a person transfers, or you can say registers, get his name registered in the register of members, he will not become the member of the company and will not be held liable also as a member. Okay. Next is by transmission of shares. Transmission happens, see, transfer happens by the conduct of transmission happens automatically by death of a person who is holding the shares. So a person may become a member of a company by operation of law, that is, he succeeds to the state of a deceased member. Okay, a membership with this method is called a legal consequence. On the death of a member, his executor or person who is entitled under the law to succeed his estate gets the right to have the shares transmitted and registered in his name in the company's register of members. No instrument of transfer is necessary in such case. Okay, so it happens by operation of law, that is by death of a person who is a member of the company, then his executors or his successors will become the members of that company in which the deceased person was the. Next is by acquittance or estoppel. A person is deemed to be a member of a company if he allows his name without sufficient cause to be entered into register of members of a company, or otherwise holds himself out or allows himself to be held out as a member. In such a case, he is stopped from denying his membership. He can, however, escape his liability by taking prompt action for having his name removed from the register of members on permissible grounds. Okay, so all the four modes are here. That is agreement in writing. The last is holding shares as a beneficial owner in the records of depository. Every person holding the shares of a company and whose name is entered as a beneficial owner in the records of the depository shall be deemed to be a member of the concerned company. So sometimes some mediator is actually given this, and he is actually made himself, or he is actually entrusted to just make himself the beneficiary for some time period. So he may become the beneficial owner for some time period, and accordingly his name will be in the depository. So he will be, or he will also be treated as a member. Sometimes what happens, a member, the shares are to be transferred from one person to another, and there is some technical flaw. So a person can be appointed as a trustee on behalf of someone else to enter into an agreement with the company for being a temporary member. So such type of people come under this particular pay, because he is holding the shares as a beneficial owner. So beneficiary is someone else. He is only holding the shares on behalf of someone. Okay, and accordingly his name is in the record of the depository. Okay, so any doubt for being a member in a company? Anyone? Anything? Yes, come on. Shreya, want to ask something?
No, sir.
Anyone else? Saurabh Yadav?
Sir, no, sir.
Okay, understood everything? It's very simple, not that much complicated. So, another thing, who can become a member of a company? Who can become a member? So, I already told that a person who is competent to contract can become the member of a company. Isn't it? But there are
Yes,
n
sir.
number of things in this also. So, subject to the memorandum and articles, any sui juris. Sui juris means a person who is competent to contract. Any sui juris except the company itself can become a member of a company. So a company itself cannot become its own member. Okay, so it is not possible. However, it is important to note following points in relation to certain organization. First is company is a member of another company. A company is also a legal person and also competent to contract. It is an artificial person. Therefore, it can become a member of any other company. However, it must be authorized by the memorandum of association to invest in the shares of the other company, or any shares of that company or any other company. Means there can be a open type of a clause in the memorandum of association that the company's object is also to invest in the shares of some other company. So this should be there. Otherwise, it will be a ultra virus act. Okay. So this must be clearly mentioned in the memorandum of association. Then only it can go for it. Okay. A company cannot become a member of itself. As per Section 19 of the Companies Act 2013, a subsidiary company cannot become a member of its holding company also. But there are some certain exception to this. Okay, so to some extent, the subsidiary company can hold some shares in the holding company. Okay, so we will not go in that detail, but this is one for your information. Okay, next is a partnership firm as a member. A partnership firm is not a legal person, and as such it cannot in its own name become a member of a company except in a company registered under section 8 of the act. Okay, if the company is registered under section 8 of the act, then the partnership firm can do so. Otherwise, if a partnership firm is to enter into a contract with the company, it can do this by making any one of the partner the member of that company. Okay, so next is the limited liability partnership. Being an incorporated body under the LLP Act 2008, this act also we are going to study. Okay, can become the. Oh, you have already studied this before, I suppose. You have studied this LLP Act in your previous year. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Okay. So that can also become a member of any company. Section 8 company, a non-profit making company licensed under Section 8 of the Act, can become a member of another company if it is authorized by its memorandum of association to invest in the shares of the other company. Okay, because Section 8 is a non-profit making company. Previously, the Section 8 used to be Section 25 in the old Act. Okay, so Section 25 companies, or you can say Section 8 companies, those companies which are not for profit, they can also be the member of some other company, provided it is given in their articles. Okay. Foreigner as a member. Foreigner may take shares in the Indian company and become the member subject to the provisions of the Foreign Exchange Management Act FEMA 1999. Okay. But in the event of war with his country, he becomes an alien enemy and his power of voting in the rights to receive the notices will be suspended. So before a foreigner becomes a member in Indian company, this is made clear to him that what will be the consequences and how his candidature will be exhausted. Okay, as a member, because in case of alien enemy, he will not be able to vote, or his right of voting and receiving notices and all these things will be suspended. Okay. Next is a minor as a member. So a member who is not sui juris, example a minor, is a wholly incompetent to enter into a contract and as such cannot become a member of a company. Consequently, an agreement by a minor to take the shares is void ab initio. Now, further, it has been held by the Company Law Board, replaced by Tribunal in 2013. So previously, this NCLT, National Company Law Tribunal, NCLT, was Company Law Board. Okay, so in 2013, it has been taken over by NCLT, that is National Company Law Tribunal, or you can say just a tribunal. Okay, so it was held that the agreement in writing for a minor to become a member may be signed on behalf of minor by his lawful guardian, and the registration of the transfer of shares in the name of the minor acting through his or her guardian, especially whether the shares are fully paid, cannot refuse on the ground of the transferee being a minor. Yeah, just hold on. So we have Gaurav Lodha sir also with us now today. So you all have studied from him. Okay, let me on the camera. Let me show him to all of you.
Which class?
BCom honors, sir.
Honors?
Your class.
Third sem.
Yes, third semester. Yes, guys, can you see?
Good afternoon,
Good
sir.
afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
I'm privileged to have him over here.
How are you all?
Fine,
Sir, fine.
sir. How
How
are
are
you,
you?
sir?
Fine. We are all fine. How's studies going on?
Well
Great.
and good, sir.
Great. So you have a great teacher with you to have the inputs. Please take the maximum input from him.
Yes,
Right?
sir.
Sure, sir.
Okay.
Okay, guys. So this is all about. So these are the things how we can go with the. Off कर दिया camera. Okay. Now further, what will happen if insolvent will become a member? Insolvent may be a member of a company as long as he is on the register of members. I have told you that a person who is on the register of members, whether or not, so unless his name is removed from the register of members, he will be called as a member of that company. So he is entitled to vote, but he loses all the beneficial interest in the shares of the company and will pay the dividend on his shares to his official assignee because he himself has become insolvent. So all the things which he will be eligible for will be given to his to his to his official assignee. So everything will be given to his official assignee as such, right? So accordingly, he will not be able to do anything because his all benefits are being transferred to the official assignee only, and his official assignee will receive all the things on his on the behalf of the company as such, right? So HUF can also be a member. HUF can also be a member, but how come? To whom? To the Karta of the company itself. Karta of the company, he will become the member. Self-service. Yeah. So Now, why HUF cannot become? Because HUF itself is not a juris person. Okay, although it is a person for the purpose of the Income Tax Act, but not for the purpose of the Companies Act. Okay, so HUF is represented by its karta. There is no legal bar on HUF to invest its money in the shares and securities, and the Companies Act does not prohibit the membership of HUF. In case of HUF, the shares can be registered in the name of Karta. As I've told you that Karta will be the person who can become the members. Now what will happen? While now here there is one important thing to understand. You might be knowing, because you are studying your income tax also, that in a Hindu undivided family, the Karta can have two PAN cards. One PAN card will be as an individual in his own name, and the second PAN card will be at the name of the HUF. So here, when the HUF is becoming a member, when the Karta is becoming a member, not as an individual but as a HUF, then he has to submit the HUF PAN card to the company in order to become a member, not his personal PAN card. Otherwise, what will happen? All the benefits will go to him. Now, people do it because they use money of their HUF and become the individual member, because this technicality is not known to them. So these are certain things which comes through a practical exposure only. Okay, so this is how the HUF can become a member through Karta. Next is Pawnee. Pawnee, who is a Pawnee? Pawnee is a person to whom the pledge is made. Okay, to whom the things are given as a mortgage. So Pawnee has no right of foreclosure, since he never had the absolute ownership at the law, and his equitable title cannot exceed what is especially granted by the law. So a Pawnee, if a person to whom some shares are pledged to just take money after a certain period of time. So what happens in case of Pawnee? A person who wants money, he can pledge his shares to that particular person and take money for that particular period of time. But what happens if the person who has given the money is not at all able to give it back? So that particular person, Pawnee, is having the right to, sell the shares or get it transferred in its own name. So in the view of the above, the Pawnee cannot be treated as a holder, but this can happen only when he gives a proper notice to the holder. Okay. So in the view of the above, the Pawnee cannot be treated as a holder of the shares pledged in his favor, and the Pawnee continues to be a member and exercise his rights of a member as well. This was decided in this Balakrishna Gupta versus Swadeshi Poltex Limited case. Okay. Next is a receiver. A receiver whose name is not entered in the register of members cannot exercise any membership rights attached to the shares unless in a proceeding to which the company is a party and order is made therein. Mere appointment of the receiver is in respect of certain shares of the company without more rights cannot deprive the holder of the shares whose name is entered in the register of the members of the company the right to vote at the meeting. See, one more thing you might have seen over here, that the right to vote only exists with the members of the company. Okay, so right to vote is most important right, which actually which is conferred to the person who is the actual owner of the shares, who is actually the person who is the member of the company, or on whose behalf all the things the other person may be appointed for the same, but the membership rights remain with that person. So a receiver who is merely a receiver cannot become the member of the company until and unless he is specially given a right for it. Okay, so that is one. So a receiver who is receiving maybe the property in case of the insolvency will also not become the member of the company. The right of voting will still remain with that insolvent person only. You have seen that when I have told you about the insolvent person, the insolvent is having a right to vote because his name is appearing as such in the company. Okay, and at the same time he is not at all beneficial for the dividend or any other benefits to be received from the company. Why? Because all things will go to in the hand of the receiver. Now, as receiver is receiving all the benefits from the company, he cannot treat himself to be a member of the company, he is having no right to vote, because still the name of that insolvent person is in the books of those. This was also declared in the same case, that's Balakrishna Gupta versus Swadeshi Polytechs. Okay. Next is a society as a member. So there was one clarification regarding from the department itself in 1962. Is clarified that a society registered in the Societies Registration Act 1860 should not be deemed to be a body corporate. Okay, within the meaning of the aforesaid Act of 1956. Okay, so accordingly, a body, it is society, maybe a society, but it is not a body corporate. It is treated as a person having a separate legal entity apart from the members constituting it, thereby capable of becoming a member under section 41(2) of the Companies Act 1956. It was there, but still there are certain the things are very dicey regarding the society, because society itself is not a body corporate. It is not having anything which it is not treated as an artificial person till date, so it cannot hold the shares in the company at its own name. Okay, so this is all. So further is, now this is one of the very important thing, that person who are taking the shares of the company in the fictitious name. So this has happened in the recent past. Before this act of 2013, that people, they just get the shares registered in their fictitious name. In that case, what will happen? A person who takes the shares in the name of a fictitious person becomes liable as a member, besides incurring the criminal liability in the section 38 of the Act, when the punishment is provided for commission of the fraud. Okay, so this is something, you are taking name of someone else, actually you are making fraud. Now this is not only criminal liability, this is a civil liability under section 38 of the Act. Not only this is a criminal liability under section 420 of IPC, Indian Penal Code. As per section 447 of the Companies Act 2013, without prejudice to any liability, including repayment of the debt under this act or any other law for the time being in force, any person who is found to be guilty of fraud involving an amount of less than 10 lakh rupees or 1% of the turnover of the company, whichever is lower, shall be punishable by that particular offense. So whatsoever is lower, so whatsoever amount he has embezzled, or by whatsoever you can say amount he has taken, so he will be liable with either 1% or the 10 lakh rupees, whichever is lower. Okay, and shall be punishable with the imprisonment which shall not be less than 6 months, but which may extend to 10 years, because this is something fraud. You are just taking some Ponzi things is being taken up as such, and shall also be liable to fine which shall not be less than the amount involved in the fraud, but which may extend to 3 times the amount. So penalty is different. Okay, and this particular amount which he will be liable to pay the company is also there, provided that where a fraud in the question involves a public interest, the term of imprisonment shall not be less than 3 years. So the 6 months imprisonment will go to minimum of 3 years if it includes if the fraud is in such a way that it is affecting the public at large. See, this Act of 2013 has come into existence. Why? And you might have seen this Act has when this Act was enacted, there was a lot of flaws in it. So there were immediate amendments were done in this Act. So in 2010, we had one very big scam of Satyam, and this Act was actually in preparation since 2006 and onwards, but didn't came as such. But when this 2010 scam happened, then there was a danda to the government. Then if they will not come up with this Act, then there are chances of having more frauds, because there are so many loopholes in the Act of 1956, and there was the Act of 1956 was so old and redundant that the new Act actually repealed the Act of 2000, the Act of 1956, and came up with a new Act of 2013 as such, right? So this is what happens. Okay, so anyways, so these are about the members, that who can become a member and who cannot become a member, and there are legal provisions regarding this. So there are 3 more things, that can 2 people jointly become the members? where the shares of a company are registered in the joint names of a joint name of the company and one of the directors, it was held that a director was a nominee of the company. For that purpose, he could act jointly with the company and not individually. Okay, so he had no rights of his own in respect of the shares and was not entitled to bring any proceedings. Okay, so joint nominee can be there, but one cannot join hands with the company to become the member. Okay. Next is the minimum number of members. So section 301 of the Companies Act 2013 provides that a company may be formed for any lawful purpose by 7 or more persons. Now this is for a public limited company. Now in case of private limited company, 2 or more persons in case of private, and 1 person it is when it is a OPC, that is a 1-person company. Okay, a private company or 1-person company also is a private company. Okay, so 1 person can subscribe his name to the memorandum of the company and may comply with the other requirements. So now we have 3 types of companies from the point of view of formation. 1-person company, as the name suggests, you can have only 1 member. In case of private company, other than 1-person company, you can have minimum 2 members. And in case of any other company, that is a public limited company, you must have 7 members. Now, one more thing over here is that this public limited company can be closely held or widely held. So closely held, when it is closely held, then you cannot, there is again a restriction on issue of shares to the general public. When it is widely held or when a company is going for a public issue, then you can say you can have maximum any number of members in that. So along with this, let me just tell you one more thing, that the maximum number of members are also there. So 1-person company, as the name suggests, only 1 member. He is the minimum and he is the maximum. In case of a private limited company, the maximum number of members is 200 as per the Companies Act 2013. This number of 200 was 50 in Companies Act 1956. Now, so the thing has been increased from 50 to 200. And in case of a public limited company, you can make the entire world your member. Okay, so this is the minimum and maximum requirement of the members. Next is the restriction on membership. By virtue of section 268(1) of the Companies Act 2013, the maximum number of members of a private company, except in case of 1-person company, limited to 200. I have already told you, and the present and past employees of the company who continue to be the members of the company, so excluding them. Okay, there is no restriction with regard to the maximum number in case of a public company. I hope it is sufficient for today. Okay. Fine. So, any questions till now? If you want to ask. Anyone? The things are very crystal clear. But still, if you have some questions, I'm ready to just answer those. Come on. Ishpreet.
Yes,
Saurabh,
sir.
no question from your side today. How come?
No, sir. No questions today.
So you have understood everything?
Yeah, sir. It was like basically it was more like theory, sir.
Theory is okay, but you think it practically. I have given you a lot of practical example.
Yes, sir.
Nothing is as practical as law is. Not even accountancy. You just do accounts on your copy and paper. You have actually not realized it as such. But the way I'm telling you and teaching you, it is something which is very practical, as if something is happening in front of you. Okay, so still, if you just brainstorm yourselves on certain points, you will have some questions. I would love to, take some questions every day. Navya, hope you have understood.
Yes, sir.
Jamima, Shreya, your class is very lazy, yeah. Except 2-3 people they do not just even, Karan Agarwal. Are you there? Lakshya.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me, sir. May I go? I got some urgent work to do.
Okay,
if you allow.
Okay, you may leave. No problem. Okay, let me take the attendance. Just wait for 2 more minutes. Okay, attendance please. Astha Khandelwal, Abhigyan Gupta, Aditya, Ankit, Anshul Goswami, Arpan Mishra, Ashutosh Barshi, Ashmit, Ayush Bothra, Hritik Bhardwaj, Ishpreet Singh Walia, Janvi Singh, Jamima, Karan Agarwal, Kaushal Agarwal, Lakshya, Naman Jalan, Naveen Chandlani, Navya Singh, Neha Singh Rathore, Priyam Milan, Priyanshi, Raghav Dubey, Sambhav Garg, Samriddhi, Sanya, Sarvan Sinha, Saurabh Yadav, Shahid Chauhan, Shara Khan, Shreya Dharan, Shubham Singh Rana, Tushar Khandelwal, Vanshika Sunil, and Yashwardhan Tiwari. Guys, thank you. Saurabh, you may leave now.
Thank you, sir. Bye, sir.
Yeah, bye-bye, and have a nice day to you too. And have a nice day to all of you guys. You still have half day to go for, and I hope you have 2-3 more classes.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, yeah, requesting
Bye, sir.
Shreya to just
Thank you,
prepare
sir.
the attendance till date and send it to me so that I can upload on the portal which I have prepared. Shreya, have you received an email also from my end? I have written an
Yes.
email to your HOD. Have you seen that?
Yes,
So
sir.
your HOD is also having the access to all my lectures which have been uploaded on the YouTube along with all of you guys. So whenever you need to just see those lectures, you can always go through and just revise it. Please make a use of it, and meanwhile, I will also earn some money out of it when you will be watching all these things, and the ads will be there and all that. Okay. Just joking. It's for you guys only. I have done it. Okay. So no problem. Go ahead and do your best. So fine. So I will be signing off for the day. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you, sir. Have a nice day, sir.
Thank you, sir. Bye,
Bye.
sir.
See you guys.
Bye, sir. Bye, sir.
Take care. Bye.